Alright, so we're just getting out of work. Today was a pretty good day. We got our workout in. Today we hit our traps, our triceps, and some abs, and also back delts, rear delts. And got to know a really good buddy a lot more. His name's Christian. And yeah, we met about a week ago, and we worked out twice already, and it's really cool. You get to meet a lot of people in this industry, and you get to really learn how to talk with people, and today I met two new people, Aaron and Pablo. Aaron and Pablo. They come here often. They've been here every day so far. They usually come at nights. Today they just decided to come in today, and we ended up meeting, and which was pretty cool. I made a video on my Instagram for fitness, explaining the importance of a Bosu ball, and also doing some exercises that show that you can see what you do with the Bosu ball. My Instagram page is CoreyA94_fitness, and so far someone left a message for me asking me if I wanted to represent their clothing brand. So I went ahead and messaged him back. I just did it right now. So we'll see how that goes. It's known as Dreaming Elegance, and about a week ago another brand had done the same thing. It's called Velocity Time Strength, and they're a really good clothing brand too. I went ahead and looked at their website, seen what they really expect from people who represent their clothing for them. And I went ahead and signed up. It was really cool, and why not? It's an opportunity, and I am looking to get sponsored. At least in the fitness industry, there's so much we could do, and just in general, in life itself, there's so much you could do. But this other company, it's called Dreaming Elegance. I really like their clothing, and I really like the name. And they're a motivational brand, and their bio talked about motivating, which is essentially everything that I want to do, to inspire, to motivate, to educate on the importance of health, wellness, and also starting our new year in the importance of reading. And which brings to the point that we are now going to go over chapter 3 before we head home, because it's raining right now. It's still raining. I guess it's supposed to be raining for the next couple days, and the traffic is gonna be pretty nice right now. So just gonna get through this first so I can get that done. And yeah, this is what I think about a lot. Okay, so chapter 3. Now I'm gonna go ahead and record this like I did last time with you guys. So chapter 3 is opportunity monopolized. No man is kept poor because opportunity has been taken away from him, because other people have monopolized the wealth and have put a fence around it. You may be shut off from engaging in business in certain lines, but there are other channels open to you. Probably it would be hard for you to get control of any of the great railroad systems. That field is pretty well monopolized. But the electric railway business is still in its infancy, and offers plenty of scope for enterprise, and it will be but a very few years until traffic and transportation through the air will become a great industry, and in all of its branches will give employment to hundreds of thousands and perhaps even millions of people. Why not turn your attention to the development of aerial transportation, instead of competing competing with J.J. Hill and others for a chance in the steam railway world. It is quite true that if you are a workman in the employ of a steel trust, you have very little chance of becoming the owner of the power plant in which you work. But it is also true that if you will commence to act in a certain way, you can soon leave the employ of the steel trust. You can buy a farm from 10 to 40 acres and engage in business as a producer of foodstuffs. There is great opportunity at this time for men who will live upon small tracts of land and cultivate the same intensively. Such men will certainly get rich. You may say that it is impossible for you to get the land, but I am going to prove to you that it is not impossible, and that you can certainly get a farm if you will go to work in a certain way. At different periods the tide of opportunity sets in different directions, according to the needs of the whole, and the particular stage of social evolution which has been reached. At present, in America, it is setting toward agriculture and the allied industries and professions. Today, opportunity is open before a factory worker in his line. It is open before the businessman who supplies the farmer more than before the one who supplies the factory worker, and before the professional man who waits upon the farmer more than before the one who serves the working class. There is abundance of opportunity for the man who will go with the tide instead of trying to swim against it. So the factory workers, either as individuals or as a class, are not deprived of opportunity. The workers are not being kept down by their masters. They are not being ground by the trust and combinations of capital. As a class, they are where they are because they do not do things in a certain way. If the workers of America chose to do so, they could follow the example of their brothers in Belgium and other countries and establish great department stores and cooperative industries. They could elect men of their own class to office and pass laws favoring the development of such cooperative industries. And in a few years, they could take peaceable possession in the industrial field. The working class may become the master class whenever they will begin to do things in a certain way. The law of wealth is the same for them as it is for all the others. They must learn, and they will remain where they are for as long as they continue to do as they do. The individual worker, however, is not held down by the ignorance of the mental slothfulness of his class. He can follow the tide of opportunity to riches, and this book will tell him how. No one is kept in poverty by the shortness in the supply of riches. There is more than enough for all. A palace as large as the Capitol at Washington might be built for every family on earth, but the building material in the United States alone, and under intensive cultivation, this country would produce wool, cotton, linen, and silk enough to clothe each person in the world finer than Solomon was arrayed in all his glory, together with food enough to feed them all luxuriously. Okay, so far he's talking about opportunity. There are some fields of opportunity which would be very, very hard for us as the working class, the people, to become the owner of that place. Like he was talking about the railways and steel plants and things that are like that. Edison, for example, that's pretty well monopolized, and foods are monopolized. Water, all the big necessities are monopolized. And industry, there are good industries that you could get into, and right now it's actually statistically proven that the fitness industry is going to be the biggest booming industry within the next couple years. For the first time in history, the children of this generation are not expected to outlive the generation before them. Basically saying that my nephew wouldn't outlive me if he doesn't change his eating habits. And that's happening out there. That's happening. You see it all the time. Most of the percent of injuries are non-contact injuries. People were blowing out literally their knee joint from standing up and turning. They're turning too quick from their chair. They work in an office. They're You know, they're sedentary all the time. They stand up and turn too hard, and then their knee just blows out. I've had experiences like that. You know, I've worked with people, with clients that have that, and you know, it's amazing. It's food for thought for you. Now he's talking about, you know, just America alone. They have everything that they need for the proper resources that everyone needs. I don't know if you guys have seen the videos that I have on the Law of Opulence by Wallace Wattles as well. It's on my YouTube channel. Go ahead and check it out. But he talks about abundance, and this is what he's talking about. Now we need to cultivate certain lands for certain things. We need to, you know, build farms, you know, for a certain type of wool or linen that we are looking for, so we could clothe, you know, the whole entire world with it. You know, we just need to cultivate the land in the area that we are using better. Oh, excuse me. Okay, so I just thought I'd share that really quick. So continuing, we're talking about abundance, essentially, and how abundance is everywhere. Okay, so the visible supply is practically inexhaustible, and the invisible supply really is inexhaustible. Now remember, the invisible supply he's talking about is the universal, you know, the universal spirit, the monism that he was saying, and how the all is one and the one is all. You know, God is the invisible, and he is inexhaustible. He is infinite, and it is from this energy that all the visible supply is brought forth from. And the visible supply is practically inexhaustible because it is basically coming from the invisible supply, which is inexhaustible. And everything you see on earth is made from one original substance, out of which all things proceed. New forms are constantly being made, and older ones are dissolving, but all are shapes assumed to one thing. Okay. There is no limit to the supply of formless stuff, or original substance. The universe is made out of it. But it was not all used in making the universe. The spaces in, through, and between the forms of the visible universe are permeated and filled with the original substance, with the formless stuff, with the raw material of all things. You see, and even there's a ancient wisdom. It's ancient wisdom that talks about energy. You know, there is a living energy that pervades all space. You know, there is no such thing as empty space. It is all filled with the conscious substance, an intelligent energy. You know, all things were created and made from this energy. We all proceeded from it. Me and you are not the exception. Are you not conscious of being? Okay, 10,000 times as much as has been made might still be made, and even then we should not have exhausted the supply of universal raw material. No man, therefore, is poor because nature is poor, or because there is not enough to go around. Nature is an inexhaustible storehouse of riches. The supply will never run short. Original substance is alive with creative energy, and is constantly producing more forms. When the supply of building material is inexhaustible, more will be produced. When the soil is exhausted so that foodstuffs and materials for clothing will no longer grow upon it, it will be renewed, or more soil will be made. When all the gold and silver has been dug from the earth, if man is still in need of a stage of social development, that he needs gold and silver, more will be produced from the formless. The formless stuff responds to the needs of man. It will not let him be without any good thing. This is true of man collectively. The race as a whole is always abundantly rich, and if individuals are poor, it is because they do not follow the certain way of doing things, which makes the individual man rich. The formless stuff is intelligent. It is stuff which thinks. It is alive and is always impelled towards more life. It is the natural and inherent impulse of life to seek to live more. It is the nature of intelligence to enlarge itself, and of consciousness to seek to extend its boundaries to find fuller expression. The universe of forms has been made by formless living substance, throwing itself into form in order to express itself more fully. So that sentence is very, very critical. I mean, that whole paragraph in general, but the universe of forms has been made by formless living substance, throwing itself into form in order to express itself more fully. Now, I don't know if you guys really study metaphysics at all, but metaphysics is basically the science of being, the science of your awareness. Where does your awareness come from? Now, I don't know if you know a man named Neville Goddard, but he goes into talking about awareness and monism as well. How monism comes from the philosophy that all is God. One original substance. That's what he's talking about right here. There's one substance which permeates all space, which created everything, which threw itself into form, became me and you. Essentially me and you are that substance. We are the universe, embodied in a physical form. We have the ability to think. We have a mind. We have a body. This is our temple. A lot of the things they talk about come straight from the Bible itself. What the greatest teacher in history had taught us. I and my Father are one. Me and you are one with the universal spirit. We're created in His image. Our spirit is the universal spirit, embodied in an individual, expressing itself through these forms known as man, known as creatures. The bird is the universe in bird form, having a bird experience. We are the universe in a human form, having a human experience. The tree is the universe embodied in the form of a tree, having the experience of being a tree. What makes us all seeming individuals is essentially our own divine spark of consciousness. We are all the same on a divine level, but we are all different on a personal level, on a soul level, on the divine spark of consciousness level, because we have the ability to choose. We could choose something from what's different from somebody else. We have our own likings, we have our own character, we have our own literally everything, but deep down we're all the same. We all came from this one source. I know you know. I know you get me. Okay. So where were we? Throwing itself into the form in order to express itself more fully. The universe is the great living presence, nothing moving, always moving inherently towards more life and fuller functioning. Nature is formed for the advancement of life. Its impelling motive is the increase of life. For this cause, everything which can possibly minister to life is bountifully provided. There can be no lack unless God is to contradict Himself and nullify His own works. You are not kept poor by lack in the supply of riches. It is a fact, which I shall demonstrate a little farther on, that even the resources of the formless supply are at the command of the man or woman who will act and think in a certain way. Okay, and that is the end of chapter 3. So chapter 3 in a nutshell, he goes over monopolized opportunities. Yeah, there are some opportunities that are monopolized, but there are also those ones that aren't. And today, now, there has never been a greater time than now to live. You can literally do anything, and you need to take advantage of it. You have the internet. You could make videos. People are always on the internet. Through Instagram, you reach people. Through Instagram is how I had somebody asking me if I wanted to represent their apparel, their gym wear, which is awesome, because how cool would that be? Like, you get free clothes, you get, you're being a part of something you believe in, which is changing lives. We're all changing lives. everybody, every single one of you is changing not only your life, but also the lives around you by the things that you think, by the actions you take, and the words that you speak. Everything is energy. You know, your thoughts are a form of energy. Your thoughts are actually the purest form of energy, and they exist on the ethereal realm. You know, getting into all that spiritual stuff, I know for a fact that you may have thought, this is food for thought. I know for a fact that you may have thought about somebody, then a day later, a week later, or even, you know, you just end up seeing them. You know, and it just so happened that it happened after you ended up thinking about them. You know, your thoughts are creative. Not only are they influencing you, but you're also sending that energy, those vibrations out into the atmosphere, and it is traveling along the universal mind. You know, and is being picked up by the mind of the person you are sending it to, if they are receptive to it. Remember, we all have our own choices, and they could either choose to accept it or not. And you really set things in motion for things that are happening. You know, all those successful people, they talk about having the vision and using your imagination. You know, they all talk about it. And you know, there's a reason why they are where they are. You know, like he's saying in this specific chapter, people are not rich because they're not doing things in a certain way. There is a definite way to doing things. There's a definite way to doing everything. There's a definite way to getting the body that you want. You know, you have to eat the certain foods. You have to eat right, first and foremost. You have to eat right. You have to train a certain way. You really do. You know, whether it's balance training, whether it's core training, plyometric training, which is another word for reactive training, hypertrophy training, which is growing, you know, your muscle size. There's strength training, which is tightening the muscle fibers for stronger strength recruitment. There are certain ways of doing things in order to get certain results, you know, and that's everything that we essentially just learned right now and are going over with you. And the one substance, this invisible energy that permeates all things, is consciousness. You know, it's a conscious substance that embodied itself in you. Are you not aware of being? Are you not conscious of being who you are? You know, are you... This is how God had embodied himself in us. You know, our awareness is the universe, you know, experiencing itself through us. Oh, man. You have a voice that needs to be heard. You have ideas that need to be shared. You have people that need you. So don't be afraid to get yourself out there, and don't be afraid to get on camera. You know, I know that I have a lot of improvements to make, and we have to start somewhere. I know I said that before, in the video before this. You have to start now. And start with what you have and make it happen. I'll see you in a little bit. I'm going to go ahead and go home now. Make another video when I get there. Alright.